All right, now let's get into Dark Side of the Ring, Collision in Korea.
Fuck.
Woo.
I knew loosely what this was. I had heard like Bischoff talk about it, but a lot of the stories I actually didn't know about. Especially, I didn't know about the Scorpio and Hawk stuff, which I feel like became a big part of everything. And all the Scott Norton, I actually didn't. I thought I knew more than I did about this, but all the little inside stuff, like with Scott Norton and all, and like I didn't know any of that shit.
So the only thing I really didn't know too much about here was the extent of Scorpio wanting to take Hawk's life.
To kill Hawk.
In Korea. In North Korea.
Wow.
So, this is an actual event that you can watch right now. So you can watch this whole thing. Like I think it's on the network. I actually
it's not on the network.
No, it's not on the network.
It's not on the network. Wow.
No.
They decided
Okay,
not
so
to
they
put it
sold
on
this,
there.
and like this was a thing that you could watch. You could watch this whole show produced. They had Mike Tenay commentating. They had the whole gimmick for it. So you can definitely find it if you look it up.
I feel like it is not on the network, not because it is a Korean government propaganda piece, but because it had a bigger attendance than anything WWE did.
Yeah,
so they could not put
pretty
it on the network.
100%. So it kicks it off here, and it talks about Eric Bischoff becoming vice president of WCW and how he reworked the deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which
Yes.
I hear that so much. I swear to God, over the last, 20 or 30 years, reworking a deal with New Japan happens so often. Apparently, New Japan never happy with these American deals that they cut out.
I'm not sure how many deals they are happy with, because I feel like something just happened with, was it CMLL or something like that? Like, I feel like that deal...
They broke off a deal recently, yeah.
Wow.
New Japan loves burning bridges. They love that
But
shit.
it's always something. You remember with TNA, it was like Okada looking bad or something. You know, that story changed so much. It was at first, it was like, oh, they were glad Okada was getting humbled.
Yes.
And they were like, oh, they were mad because Okada looked like a bitch when he was there.
Green
It's like,
Hornet.
I don't really know. No one really knows, especially when it comes to Japanese side of wrestling, or especially with something like this where they go to North Korea. Like, hearing anything about these stories is sort of insane. So getting all this information
fourth hand.
Yeah,
usually.
it's just absolutely.
It's just in hindsight now. Oh yeah, Okada became a big star. Yeah, that's why we were mad, because
fuck TNA, actually. Why didn't they see he was a star? And you give us the British invasion?
Oh yeah, TNA switched the titles a ton too that New Japan didn't approve of. I forgot about that too. So
That
they
part,
did that with the NWA too.
situation.
TNA just said fuck the NWA and switched their titles.
They said
without
fuck their
asking.
own belts, man. They were throwing them bitches all over the place. They're like, all right, well, we can't make you any more belts because you keep breaking them.
Yeah, you're on timeout.
So maybe there's some legs to this New Japan thing. So Antonio Inoki, of course, reaches out to Bischoff, and he said, why don't you bring the entire WCW roster over to North Korea to compete in a peace festival?
And I said, okay.
Obviously, Bischoff's not going to say no to that, especially because, they had a chance to do something the size of WrestleMania or even bigger. In 95, WCW is still not at that point yet. They're like kind of rebuilding and trying to take it to a national level. So
and
this is huge.
That seems to be the reoccurring thing when it goes back to Bischoff on this episode. Is there's all this crazy shit going on. They felt like they were gonna die. They were being treated horribly. Everyone thought they were horrible killer Americans. And the Bischoff was like, yeah, but we got more people though.
Yeah, but what about that attendance?
What about that one, Vince?
I thought it was really cool that they actually got Too Cold and Scott Norton to do interviews for this.
I thought it was cool they got Inoki. What the fuck?
Yeah, that is
was
pretty crazy.
His jaw is just unfucking believable.
What a beast.
It's so sick.
I like how Too Cold introduces himself as one of the most famous high flyers in the world.
Hey,
I'm the best,
Scorpio.
baby.
That's my fuck. I love that fucker. That guy's
I
awesome.
do too. Yeah, he was he was probably the best part of this whole thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
So Inoki, of course, wanted to do this huge event. Inoki's actually faced Muhammad Ali before this show even happened.
Brother.
Notoriously shit match, if you don't know. No one really knows the true story about that. One side says Inoki wanted it to be a work. The other side said Ali wanted it to be a work. Whatever it ended up being was some sort of shoot work deal where
it was Inoki sitting on the ground kicking his legs the entire time. That's what it was.
And I heard Ali really mess his leg up in that match from him kicking him.
Yeah, I think that fucks Ali up for like ever, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think he never his leg was never really the same after that one. So obviously, I'm surprised there was not more bad blood between the two especially moving forward to this show. But
you think maybe? I mean, do you think maybe it's been blown up? Maybe that shows
maybe that was a work too.
Either that or Ali, because they emphasize here that Ali was like super into the idea of doing it because he was a big like world peace guy. So maybe he was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll just do whatever to kind of mend any."
But it never seemed there was any like they never talked about them. I guess Inoki really wouldn't talk about that in the first place.
No, I guess not. But surely somebody had to have known something if it was really. Maybe it was like you said. Maybe it was just a big fucking word.
So Inoki, of course, created the Sports and Peace Party, which kind of sets up events like this and tries to push forward pro wrestling with world peace. I don't know how far that really got, but
if there was anything, if I was to decide today, if Joe Biden said, "Listen, we got to bring the world together," the last thing on my list would be fucking pro wrestling.
Times are different, 95. We haven't reached the attitude area yet.
Bro, even Hogan said that's not going to work for me, brother.
That's probably one of the best parts.
Dude, the greatest part about that is that Bischoff said, I talked to Hogan for 5 minutes. He didn't even try to get Hogan there.
No.
Hogan said, yeah, I can't make that one, brother.
Hogan big leagued Korea.
Probably for the best on his part.
Yeah, that's for fucking true.
So Korea, when Inoki went to North Korea and asked him about this event, they were super big into it immediately. They're like, oh yeah, that's great. We can use it as propaganda, literally, to seem like a big deal to the rest of the world.
Sure.
Somehow Inoki convinced them that pro wrestling was something that mattered to the rest of the world. North Korea also thought that maybe at this pro wrestling event they could have Michael Jackson.
Was he there?
Michael Jackson was not there. No,
okay,
he was not there. They
about Michael
wanted
Jackson.
him.
Oh, okay, because I wasn't sure. I thought they said, "Oh, we got Michael Jackson." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, they wanted Michael Jackson, Muhammad Ali, and Hulk Hogan. What a crazy sight that would have been.
What a trio.
This sounds like the Saudi Arabia events.
It
Vince
does.
Oh my God! Wow.
We need Andre the Giant there, or what did they say?
Yokozuna.
There's
Yeah,
gonna be
they
a dark
said-
side of the ring on that someday.
I think so too.
gotta be.
I seriously think so. I mean, especially now that the guys that were there
Got
were
fired.
Yeah,
They should have signed those guys forever.
Dude, that was a bad idea to let them go.
Yo, Mark Carano, what's up?
Let him know. So Inoki, of course, wanted Hulk Hogan because North Korea wanted Hulk Hogan, and then Hogan said, "Can't make that one, brother." And then Inoki, as politely as humanly possible, said Hulk Hogan was a pussy ass bitch.
Yeah, he said, does not surprise me. Fuck you.
Then that's where they introduced Scott Norton. Scott Norton is a huge part of this story and probably one of the more famous parts of it. I heard the Scott Norton story before I heard any of the rest of this story.
Okay.
But Tiger Hattori and Masahiro Chono were there and they said, Norton, you're on this Korea show. He said, hey, yo, what the fuck?
He's like, who?
Because Scott Norton is still working New Japan at this point. This whole thing's going down. You know, they got all the boys together. They can't get Hulk Hogan, so they get Ric Flair. Ric Flair is, I mean, honestly, probably the better guy to get for this, mostly because he can get Inoki over huge.
And
I can't
he wouldn't mind losing.
Imagine Hulk Hogan beating Inoki in North Korea.
I was going to say, because he would have politicked hard to beat Inoki.
Especially in 95?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He wasn't even Hollywood yet, right? He was still red and yellow, wasn't Hogan?
I don't know. That might have been...
Hollywood was 96, I thought.
Yeah.
So he would have been red and yellow Mr. America going.
Yeah,
his
fresh
career.
off the Fed run, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
fresh off of making Bret Hart look like a little bitch. Yeah.
And even if they said no, like he would have agreed to lose to Inoki in America, but when they got to Korea, he said, "I'm not working unless you put me over." Like,
yeah, that's rough, dude.
I kind of wish that would have happened now. Fuck.
There's an alternate reality somewhere where Hogan went over Inoki in Korea
and got sniped.
Everybody died.
They never came back ever.
Blew the building up.
Dude, the whole thing is crazy because this was literally, if any of them would have died in Korea, there would have been a war. There would have been a war. I mean, how does America not? How does America not retaliate?
America going to war with Korea over Scott Norton?
Yeah, like there's no way, right? There's no way. Even if they would have held Scott Norton and like not killed him, but kept him as almost like a prisoner of war.
Oh, that would have been
bro.
crazy.
Like, how do you not retaliate?
I'm not sure what what would sound even crazier? Them going to war over Scott Norton, or them going to war because Too Cold Scorpio killed Road Warrior Hawk? I don't know which one is easier to digest.
Dude, how this didn't blow up into a million pieces? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. So anyways, all the boys get to the airport. They have to go to Japan first, and then they go from Japan to North Korea. So they all get to the Japanese airport. Muhammad Ali shows up. He does magic tricks for the boys.
They're like, whoa, ski, whoa! That's pretty much what they did.
That's a good brother right there.
I thought it was pretty interesting when Bischoff said he didn't ask anybody about this. He just went. He's like, yeah, I didn't ask the federal government or anything. I don't
know if I believe that. He said Ted Turner didn't know that he was going. There's no fucking way.
He said his boss didn't. I don't know if his boss, if he's talking about Turner or somebody else.
Maybe. I don't. Yeah.
Okay, I guess in most situations, because it is a WCW branded event. WCW is recording, or at least they're getting the footage.
Yes.
There's got to be someone there's got to know.
Someone had to have
Ted,
known.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I feel like he wasn't so hands on.
Yeah.
I don't really know the inner workings of WCW 95, but I assume it was a shit show.
The whole entire inner workings of WCW are always a shit show. So
North Korea sends a plane over to pick them up from Japan because they're not going to let them fly Delta, is what Eric Bischoff said, which I thought was funny.
Was it the Army that sent it?
It was a military transport.
Wow.
That's all they got.
Sorry,
people don't come to North Korea. They don't come in and out of North Korea. So they send a military escort here, pretty much. Scott Norton immediately buries it because it's a piece of fucking garbage. Some 1940 piece of shit. Ain't no peanuts on this flight, son. They get to North Korea. They get off. Scott Norton says that I don't think anyone's been in here in years. There's dust everywhere. It looks like it's just been abandoned. It probably looks like the airway and like Fallout New Vegas. Just a complete shit show.
Just put Scott Norton in that game.
They take their passports the minute they get to North Korea, and everyone's like, what the hell's going on?
I'd be like, I probably would have cried. That's how fucking scary.
I don't know how they mentally were stable during that whole trip. I would have just been on my toes.
Someone must have been there like to reassure them of something, but still.
You think Sonny Ono was doing it? Hey, everything's gonna be all right, boys.
We're gonna go to Disney World after this.
So they had a CNN reporter that covered the event back in '95 on the show, which I thought was pretty cool. They kind of went out of their way to get that guy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I wish it was Michael Cole.
It kind of looked like Michael Cole a little bit. So.
Looked like he's dead.
Eric Bischoff was told by his driver when he got there. They were all given drivers and people to watch over him. Eric Bischoff was told that he was the 7th American in North Korea that set foot in North Korea that hadn't been shot down or captured.
That's awesome. That's probably Bischoff was probably like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. I'll write that down.
Yeah. Fuck you, Vince. Another one.
For the good guy. Yeah. Sonny Ono still had his lanyard from the event.
I thought that was fucking crazy. Yeah.
So obviously, North Koreans hate the Japanese. This dates back to World War II. They also hate Americans. Turns out they just don't like a lot of people. They just like North Korea, if you can imagine. So everyone here, even Sonny Ono, were hated by everyone in North Korea.
Yes.
I still have no clue how they were okay with this whole event going down.
Yeah, like how did this get okayed?
They really thought that pro wrestling was, I don't know what Inoki told them, but whatever he told them, maybe wasn't exactly the truth.
Yeah.
So they were followed everywhere by the North Korean government. No matter where they went, there was always someone there. Too Cold Scorpio said the only shit on the TV in the hotel was 3 government channels.
And it was all political shit.
I can't imagine. No Family Guy on 40 volumes?
Oh, I've been there, brother. That doesn't work.
Some things are a blessing, actually.
Maybe North Korea's not so bad. So Scott Norton, Chris Benoit, and Hawk go play pool downstairs in the hotel. They were surprised that there was even a pool table down there.
Yeah.
Well, there was no balls on the table, so they had to go get balls.
They said it took 2 hours for the desk to give them the pool balls.
They had to get clearance to get the pool balls.
From the government.
They could just put in some quarters and get pool balls?
No.
Doesn't work like that?
So apparently, Scott Steiner was also down there.
I wish they would have got him for this.
How did nobody die on this trip? You're telling me Scott Steiner was on his P's and Q's?
It wasn't Big Papa Pump yet. He wasn't really. He was still with Rick.
Yeah.
He had his brother to calm him down.
Yeah, but even before Big Papa, like right towards the end of the Steiner's tag run, like going into Big Papa Pump,
Yes.
he was full on Big Papa Pump.
Oh, sure.
Every move, who's the fucking man? I got no clue now.
I wish they
That's
would have got
crazy.
him for this, man. I'd love to hear him say at least anything about this.
Me
honestly.
too.
Yeah.
I would have loved it.
God.
That would have been so good. No clue how Scott Steiner didn't have everybody killed. That's crazy.
Now that's more believable. Scott Norton and Scorpio killing Hawk. Scott Steiner starting a war. Yeah, okay, that's fucking for true.
So Eric Bischoff goes for a run in the morning. For some reason, he thought this was okay. I don't know why
just does
did.
it.
He just
He
did
just
it.
fucking does it.
So he goes for a run without telling anyone that's watching over him. Nobody knows. He just kind of leaves. Somehow he made it out the building and started running. I have no clue how any of this happened, but
In a
Eric
bright
Bischoff is
orange jacket and a backwards cap.
he's a sly man. Makes it out into the street, and everyone is terrorized by Eazy-E. All they see is an American running towards them in the street.
just running down the street. Very American.
What
Right?
the fuck?
Yeah. It's,
Oh, yeah, that's that.
he said kids were looking at him like they were going to die.
That's like, I was like, why? Like, I'm like, how terrorized could they really be? And then I'm thinking about it. He doesn't stop running the whole time. He just keeps running.
He doesn't stop.
You don't know what's going on. They don't have jogging over there. You think people go jogging? I don't think so.
Well, they said there's like never any Americans. It could be like the first time some of them have ever seen an American in person. And all
Yeah, I
this shit they've heard.
assume. Yeah, I assume.
They're probably like, why is this white man running? What is going on?
Yeah, someone shoot him. Take him down.
It was too fast, baby. How fast as fuck, boy. So then we get into the part with Too Cold Scorpio talking about how he almost killed Hawk on the bus in North Korea.
This happens like 3 times.
So at some point, I really don't know how they didn't kill each other here. So Scorpio had heat with Rick because he thinks he was the reason he was fired from WCW initially.
Yeah.
Ric
Flair.
Flair. Yeah, Ric Flair was the guy. So Ric Flair was looking for someone to ride with him because obviously he didn't want to ride by himself.
Sure.
He was looking for Hawk. And Scorpio goes, let that pussy ride by himself.
Because Scorpio thinks Flair got him fired from WCW.
Yeah, from WCW initially.
Yeah, exactly. Flair couldn't ride with the boys in Korea?
I assume because he was the big draw, they had him like separately go into
I'm
places.
sure they had to. He was
Yeah,
maybe.
that's what I was thinking.
Fair enough. He said,
Scorpio's like, "You
let
pussy
that
bitch."
pussy go on his own. Fuck that
He
pussy.
said, what? He said,
Yeah.
let that pussy go on his own. What part did you not
Fuck
get?
him. Yeah. You didn't get the fucking part or the pussy part.
Hawk did not like that.
No.
So Hawk got up and threw a punch at Scorpio. And then Scorpio dodged it and beat the dog shit out of him.
His words, of course.
Yes. Scorpio said that he punched him like 7 or 8 times in a row, gouged his eye halfway out of his head, kicked him.
He said that the Japanese young boys were holding him back. Hawk throws a punch at him, and he said, I bobbed the weave each shot.
He said, the Japanese wrestlers were holding him down. And he said he was punching. I was like, I was booed out the way. I was like, oh shit.
That's awesome.
That's sick.
He said he was gonna pull his eye out if it wasn't for the
He
Japanese.
said I had his eye halfway pulled out. What?
My favorite part is it cuts to
It snapped
Scott
back in?
Norton. It cuts to Scott Norton. He's just looking at the ground. He goes, well, Scorpio did beat him up, but I don't
But
know.
Hawk was on many drugs.
Yes, he said Hawk was on medication and was sick from recovering from Hep C.
He had
He
flu.
said if he wasn't, Scorpio would have got his ass beat. Norton's going to kayfabe his friend. I like that. Now we get into the Scott Norton story, which more or less most of you have probably heard. If not, it's
Still,
interesting.
it's worth saying.
Absolutely. Okay, so he calls his wife, right?
Yes.
And she's pissed because for whatever reason she thinks that Scott Norton's out partying with the boys
In Korea.
in North Korea. I don't think his wife really knows where he's at.
No. I don't-
Wrestling
So-
back in those days was completely different. You didn't have cell phones. You're like, yeah, I'm on the road with the boys. That's it. That's all
Yeah.
they knew. So you'd have to call home and, yeah, I'm in North Korea. Fuck, where are you really at?
Oh, is that her name?
Who's that hoe you're with right now? I'm in North Korea, I swear.
Well, Scott Norton says the infamous line, You don't know what kind of shithole this is.
Oh, boy.
The phone immediately goes out, and the government's right at his door. Because guess what? They wired the phone. They not only wired the phone, they have the entire room wired. I'm not just the phone either. Like everything in the room, they can hear anything and everything they're doing at any time. So it wasn't just on the phone. It's as crazy sounding as you could possibly be. So he gets interrogated, of course, by the North Korean government. There's a guy there that can speak English, and he's like, "You're in big shit, bro.
You better knock it off. Don't say shit about Korea. Don't talk about Korea. Don't look at Korea."
What's so good about Domo Korea, anyways?
What?
So here's the deal with this, man. They could shoot him.
Yes.
But they would be starting. So anything that they do to any of these guys, they're starting a war with America immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It didn't seem like they were too hesitant, though.
No, because they believe their own propaganda that they are. It wouldn't really matter if they killed him because they would be able to defeat America.
They would be heroes for killing him, if anything.
So okay, this whole thing's fucked.
Yeah.
Scott Norton obviously figures out about halfway through this that holy shit, I gotta shut up. I have to like tell them you're number one. You're number one.
Korea
like,
number one.
Whatever it takes, dog. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So he ends up living. Somehow everyone here ends up living. I don't know.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds.
I like that Korea was the biggest threat to everyone except for Hawk, who had Korea and Hugo Scorpio.
Hawk was number one. Just ask Scott Norton. So before the big show, they go to, it was like a temple site for the former leader of North Korea.
Yeah.
Tuco Scorpio called a old haunted temple.
Oh shit! I don't want to go here. I don't know what's going on.
He said we gotta go to this old haunted temple. I got no clue who it is or what this is. So, anyways, they talk about a story about Muhammad Ali jogging up the temple stairs, shadow boxing. They put him over huge and talked about that.
I was worried that they were gonna say, and then they drew guns on him.
Was like, yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
But is Muhammad Ali that over there? They're like, oh yeah, that's pretty sweet. Go do that.
Yeah. That was one of the two guys that they wanted. They said Michael Jackson and Muhammad Ali, of course, and Hulk Hogan, but hey, ain't got time for that.
Doesn't work for
Michael
me,
Jackson would have moonwalked up there.
Yeah, grabbed his dick and balls. We're still at the temple site. They leave. Scorpio goes up to Hawk and goes, "Hey, man, I just want to apologize. Like, hey, we probably shouldn't be doing this shit here. We could
Korea's
die.
bad enough. Like, they're trying to kill us. We shouldn't try to kill each other."
So Hawk took that personally and immediately swung on Scorpio. Scorpio, of course, this time the fight doesn't go too crazy here.
He specifically says he hit me as hard as he can, and I didn't go down.
He's gonna make sure he gets his shit in here.
Of course.
I love Scorpio doing this.
Yeah.
Scorpio, of course, they break it up and nothing really happens here. But Scorpio, then at the next dinner they have before the show, gets 2 stainless steel chopsticks, ties them together, and makes a shiv.
He took them from there. He stuck them hit him in his pockets.
They add the detail where, like, I'm eating a steak with these chopsticks, which one, I don't know.
I dropped it on the floor.
I dropped one on the floor, picked it up, put it in my pocket. Dropped the other one on the floor, picked it up, put it in my pocket.
He was rooming with Benoit, and he's in the room with Benoit. He lifted up the window, and he was sharpening it on the ledge, and Benoit said, "We did." Scorpio said, "We're gonna kill this motherfucker." And Chris Benoit said, "Don't do it."
Life's weird, man.
Yeah.
So we have a forced attendance at this show. The number changes constantly here, but Eric Bischoff says 170,000 people in attendance.
Now, when James says forced attendance, that means if you don't go, you will be killed.
You die.
Yeah. For real, though.
Yeah. Just straight up die.
The first thing I thought of when I heard that forced attendance, I'm like, I'm sure these people really enjoyed the show.
How do we get forced listeners on this podcast?
So 170,000 people are here. They do a whole thing before where they do, this is basically like their pre-war, they honestly did like their pre-war propaganda stuff at this pro wrestling show. They had everybody out there, the flag twirlers, the band, everything was out there. Nobody was happy about being there. They'd rather just work, I guess, or do
live
whatever.
their lives.
Yeah, do anything else other than watch fucking pro wrestling, which I don't blame them.
Me too.
Two Gold Scorpio had the best line. He said, "You didn't even have to be high to trip off that, like the show."
Yeah, he said that shit was crazy.
I'm surprised that they had like a full wrestling show. You know, I assumed
A whole show.
yeah, like they had an undercard for this.
Yeah, it was like I don't know how many matches on the show. It's probably like 8 matches though.
Yeah, there was like a full card, and it's just like, damn, that's crazy. I thought, maybe they'll just do Inoki and Flair, or whatever the big matches or whatever.
Was it a 2-day wrestling show or just the 1 day?
Yeah, there was 2 nights. One.
Oh yeah, I see it now. Yeah, Hashimoto and Scott Norton went to a time limit draw in the main on night 1. 20 minutes.
Hey, Shinya's not gonna lose here tonight. So the crowd cheered nobody. Just super not
care.
into this at all, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that the thing was Inoki wanted to introduce wrestling to these people, and not one of them understood what the fuck wrestling was.
They not only didn't understand it, but they couldn't cheer for it. 1, all Americans are the enemy.
Yeah.
2, all Japanese are the enemies.
There's
guess
not a
who's
single
booked on this
Korean
card?
wrestling.
Japanese and Americans.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I guess we didn't think that one through very well. Well, the good thing here is Inoki
Yeah.
had his mentor, Ricky Dozan,
Yes.
who just happened to also be Korean.
Which is why he's dead.
Yeah, no, for shoot.
Yeah.
He was killed by the Yakuza because they found out he was Korean. So Inoki uses his connection to Ricky Dozan. I don't know how Inoki's just a crazy dude.
He's
I have
an
no
anomaly,
clue
man, for real.
how he
Full
was able to do
definition.
this.
No way, yeah.
But he was able to use his relationship with Ricky Dozan to make the crowd cheer for him against Ric Flair.
That match went just under 15 minutes.
And the crowd was very happy.
Thank God.
If somebody didn't share in this fucking building, everybody dies.
there was one part that was funny. Scott Norton says during Hawk's match, I guess it was the Road Warriors. I don't know. Let me see if I can find the match. I think this was night 1. On night 2 he wrestled. I guess he wrestled on night 1 here too. I don't see it. But yeah, at one point Scott Norton says that Hawk, the crowd's super dead. Hawk goes up on the second rope, looks at the crowd and says, "What the fuck are you doing here? You fucks." Just berating them.
That obviously did not make them want to cheer.
No.
So, event is over. It was an event, that's for true. Bigger than any WrestleMania, that's also for true. Hawk then apologizes to Scorpio. He goes, "Scorpio, listen, man, I ran out of..." This is all Scorpio's say, by the way. He came up to him and said, "Hey, man, I ran out of steroids."
he said, "I ran out of prescription. I ran out of pills. I ran out of steroids." I ran out of... Okay, true.
All right. Okay. And then they made up. He said, "If you want to die in Japan, though, let me know."
Yeah. He's like, "I accept." Scorpio, like, Hawk apologized to him. Scorpio says, "Okay, I accept your apology, but when we get to Tokyo, if you want to still settle this, we can."
Yeah, if you're not a bitch in Japan, let's fight.
Yeah.
Hawk said, "Okay." Interesting.
Yeah.
My favorite part here is that when they had the B-roll here, Scorpio's reaching his back pocket for the chopstick.
Just in case.
So, let's recap here. This event failed Inoki's re-election bid. Everyone thought that North Korea were big fucking weirdos for doing a pro wrestling show. This did nothing for North Korea. WCW tried to sell this event as a pay-per-view. Nobody cared.
Oh my God.
Scott Norton almost died.
Yes.
Hawk almost died.
Twice.
Scott Steiner could have killed everybody here.
Exactly.
So, all in all, fantastic pro wrestling event. 10
Great
out of 10.
success.
Couldn't ask for anything more out of a pro wrestling event, baby.
And of course, after all of that, the very end, all that Eric Bischoff could talk about is having the biggest audience ever.
Check out my podcast.
even though they went out of their way to say it was forced attendance, and if you don't attend, you'll die. Eric Bischoff is still bragging that it did better than WrestleMania.
Eric Bischoff's like, don't give a fuck, didn't care, still happened.
Yeah. Eric Bischoff's a worker forever.
Still hit,
83 weeks. We remember 83 weeks. Oh yeah, we also beat WrestleMania.
84th week, we beat WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, it's also Scorpio at one point says, I have one thing over Hogan. I have a bigger attendance than he did twice.
I definitely thought he was gonna say he had a bigger cock.
I
But
thought
I'll
so
take
too.
that too. Dark Side of the Ring, they didn't talk about it, but Kensuke Sasaki and Akira Hokuto were there. They had just gotten together, and they were in the hotel, and they had sex so loud and so hard that everyone in the entire hotel heard it the entire way through the hotel. And they're still together today.
That's that's why.
Isn't that awesome? There's one thing to come out of North Korea for you.
Yeah. See, that's all Scott Norton needed to do is fuck.
Yeah, the story goes that they were like really like going crazy.
Going to town?
Yeah, like screaming, like some real crazy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's got me
guess
feeling some kind of way already.
Kensuke Sasaki really getting in there. That's cool.
Kensuke Sasaki putting in work. What do you think that guy does?
That puts in that work.
Frog splashing.
Frog splashing straight in there. That's my guy right there. That's a pretty sweet story. I wish they would have brought that up and had Kensuke Sasaki and Akira Hokuto do an interview.
Should ask Inoki about it.
No, yes. I do remember 1995. The night my world changed.
Yeah. I actually like this episode more than I thought it would. I thought the interviews on this were really fun.
They had a lot of interesting interviews. Yeah, they had a lot of people here.
It was fun stuff. It was very
just
different
let
than the last
Scorpio
two.
talk, and that was great. I don't care if he's lying or he's not. Just let him talk, man. It's good. Next week is Becoming a Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior story.
Okay.
Jesus God. Okay.
So they have his wife on a lot, apparently, is what's the big deal with this one. So we'll see what her take is on everything.
I'm sure she'll tell the truth.
Yeah, what a load of shit. I hope they cover him extensively. That'd be great.
That's going to be... I wonder how that compares to Self-Destruction of Ultimate Warrior.
Probably up there. Well, that was Collision in Korea, Dark Side of the Ring.